we go. Hello, everybody, and happy to Crafty Hour. Welcome to Crafty Hour number 70. Kourtney here with Scrapbook-N-Memories. So Deanna will be making up her part of Crafty Hour. When she gets back, she will be doing it next Thursday, and then we will still be doing our reveal of Crafty Hour 72 on our normal schedule tomorrow. So welcome, everybody. Glad that you guys are getting to join us live and getting to craft along. So what we're going to kind of play with tonight is shaker cards. I was looking at these papers and I loved how they had kind of already the scallop and already these other pieces in there. And to me, it already looked framed. It looked like it had a frame in itself. And I thought they were just screaming, make a shaker card into me. So that's what we're going to do today, guys. We are going to use the Uniquely Creative collection, and we're going to turn those into shaker cards. Now, if you do need some more of these, I know our store still has some of the paper pads in stock, but we are out of the ephemera. I'm not sure what Clipper Street has, so you can call and ask them and see what they have for pieces. But I know our store still has the 6x8 paper pads if you need some more paper. So let's kind of get started. So in the homework, I told you guys to grab nesting dies. It doesn't matter what brand you have. It doesn't matter what sizes they are. We're going to use what will fit in your piece. And I love nesting dies, and I'm always telling you guys, nesting dies, if you're new to die making and creating and you don't know where to get started, nesting dies is where to get started. They are a tool that you can use over and over again, either at straight edge, scallop edges, stitched edges. Just some good nesting dies is great to have in your toolbox to use every day. So that's what I said to grab. Either or will work. So let's move these guys out of the way, and we'll get started and open up our card packs. So in our paper, what we're going to look for first is that kind of the candy cane stripe, which is both of these pieces. We're going to use both of these pieces here. So that is going to be the first piece that you are going to hunt for in your pack. And Deanna and I split this pack in half, so we didn't have to arm wrestle, and you don't have to worry about using something that you shouldn't. Half of it will be for mine, half of it will be for Deanna. So just make sure you save some for her portion of the presentation. In the Crafty Hour kit, what was nice too is you got your card bases with your envelope. So go ahead and grab out 2 card bases because we're going to use those. And these bases are on a really nice high quality GSM. 300 GSM is a great weight for those. So grab 2 card bases and you can set those to the side. We'll come back to those later. So we're going to start with this piece. And basically what we're going to do is cut it in half. We're just going to cut it in half. And the candy cane stripe part is going to go on your card base. And we're just going to glue it with no white on the edges. It's going to go all the way around it. Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are loving all these Crafty Hour kits and everything we've been doing and putting together for you guys. We try to bring you different ideas, different styles, and different projects to play with. This Mint and Mistletoe is from Uniquely Creative. They are an Australian company, and when we saw this at market in June, we were like, oh my gosh, this collection and this kit is gorgeous. So we got to do something with it for Crafty Hour. So we took their card kit and we added extra bling and stuff to it, and made it an awesome Crafty Hour for you guys. So that's all we're doing is just gluing that first piece on flat. Make sure your crease is on the left-hand side. I can't tell you how many times I call them a trick card. It opens from that way. Yeah, we've done trick cards before. So that's all you're going to do on that. Now this next piece, what we want to do is we're going to put it on our card, but we want to see a little bit of that candy cane all the way around the outside edge of it. So we're going to have to cut a little bit of it off, but when we cut it off, we want this piece to stay in the center. We want that piece to stay in the center. So we're going to leave the top where it is. We're going to cut equals off on the sides and then cut off on the bottom. So this piece kind of looks more centered. And let me measure it really quick. So it is going to be 3 7/8 by 5 5/8 is your finished, okay? So right now it is 4 1/8. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take 1/8 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch off of this side, 1/8 of an inch off of this side. So we're cutting off the sides first, okay? Because we want it to stay centered. Okay, so in my trimmer on mine, 1/8 of an inch. You're just going to go down 2 little tick marks. Okay, and that's just 1/8, just a hair. So then when you flip it, you've already, and if you don't know eighths, just cut a hair off and then flip it around and do the other side 3 7/8. Okay, so you want 3 7/8 to be your width. Okay, 3 7/8. Then we're going to chop off the bottom. We want to leave it, I liked it with the sides and the top to kind of look equal. So we're going to chop it off the bottom and not chop anything off the top. So you're going to put your circle on the left-hand side, and we're going to cut it at 5 5/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. So if you just want to make sure that you cut the right size, you can find your card base and just put it on and see if you have a little bit, and that's perfect. A little bit of candy cane showing all the way around the outside edges. If you're off a little bit, just keep shaving a little bit more off until you kind of have it equal all the way around. So the next portion is now going to be our shaker. So put your candy cane back to the side, and we're going to cut the center out of this. I thought this was so pretty that to me it looked like a window. It looked like that this would make a perfect shaker. So you can pull out your nesting circles. If you don't have straight circles and you have scallops, that's great. Use whatever you have, guys. And then we're just going to take it and see what we like. So that one, I'm like, cute, but it's a little too small. So I'm going to go a size bigger and see what that looks like. And that works for me. So your circles might be different sizes because circles are different sizes. Maybe yours is a hair bigger, maybe yours is a hair smaller, but again, use what you want. Hello, Judith. Yes, we're finally playing with an Australian paper company, so it should be right at home. So mine is actually 2 13/16. If you have a 2 3/4, perfect. Okay, so you just want something that's going to do a circle. We're going to grab our die cutting machine, and we're just going to put that circle right in the center as close as we can to kind of center it on there. Just like that. Perfect. And then we'll put the top on, and then we're just going to crank it through and cut the center out of that to make a little window, because we're going to do a shaker card. And this we're not using it for anything, so you can just kind of throw that to the side. And then that's going to be our piece. Okay. So we're going to flip it over, and we need to seal this and put our acetate on top. So I like to use score tape. Some of you guys call it souquin tape. This one is 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to go around, and I love it because you can just kind of rip it, put it where you want it, and we're just going to circle the circle. We're circling the wagons. And we're just going to put and when I'm doing acetate, I like to use score tapes and dry adhesives because I just don't have the time and or patience to deal with liquid glues, because sometimes they ooze out or your acetate slips and slides. So I like to use the dry adhesives because it holds it down fast and you don't have to wait for it to dry. Okay, there we go. Then we're going to take a piece of acetate, and your circle might be a little bit bigger or smaller than my circle, but we're going to take a piece of acetate and just cover that hole. So I'm just going to look, and I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut a square that's 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and that should cover my hole. And I'm using the Dress My Craft acetate. I love their acetates. They have a thinner one and a thicker one, and these are perfect. And I think this one might already be cut for my next one. And then anytime I have little scraps of acetate, just throw them back in there, because you never know what you'll use it for. So I said 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So we're just going to cut that acetate. And this acetate just has a little bit of protective stuff on there. So Vicki, this one that I'm using, so there's 3 different types of Dress My Craft acetates. Thank you for asking. She asked what kind of thickness I'm using. This one is the 100 microns, which is really flexible. Then there's another one which is just a little thicker. It might be 150 microns, I think it is. That's the one I actually like better, but I seem to have misplaced mine, so I'm not sure where it's at. And then there's another one that is thicker. It might be 200 and some microns. To me, that one is too thick for acetate. So I like the 2 lighter ones that Dress My Crafts has. Like I said, this one's pretty flexible. The next one, a little bit thicker, is usually the one I like to use the most. So then we're just going to peel all the backing off the score tape. And when you put your score tape on, you want to make sure you burnish it too. That way it sticks to your cardstock or your project. You can use your finger, you can use your bone folder, kind of whatever you want, but you just kind of want to burnish it. That way the adhesive is stuck to your cardstock. And then we'll just take that piece of acetate and layer on top. And that is all there is to making a little shaker window. Super easy. We've got our acetate on there. Sometimes if you get some static electricity and stuff in there, you can always use the little embossing buddies or any of the embossing tools, and that'll take the static electricity out and keep your sequins from sticking to things that you don't want them to. Okay, so then we have to do foam, and I like the Scrapbook-N adhesive. This is the strips, the thin strips. They come in white, they come in black. I'm going to move that measurement out of there so that's not distracting. That's a little distracting. If you peel the backing off, it makes it flexible. So you can go around the edges and go around things, and you can curve the shape of it. It's a little hard to do it with the backing on it But if you take that backing off, you can mold and move it, shape it. Oops, I didn't get all of mine off. Hi, Cocoa Bean. Okay, so we're just going to keep going around. Okay, and then we just need a little bit to finish that off. We'll give that a try and see if that's enough. Any other questions? Everybody doing good? Okay, so when you're doing your shakers, you want to make sure your foam tape doesn't have any gaps in it, because if you have any gaps, your little Ghibli bits are going to fall out. Okay, so I've got my pieces circled. Now I need to put foam everywhere else to kind of help hold it, because this whole piece is going to be popped. That whole platform is popped. And this paper is a little bit thinner, so I do want to support that paper so it doesn't kind of bow. So I'm going to put a piece of foam at the top. And then I'm probably good here on the sides. And I'm going to put one on the bottom and then one right here too. Okay, then we got to get our little shaker bits. So any kind of sequins, any kind of things. I grabbed 2 different things to use on this. I got a hair. I want to make sure the hair is not inside the shaker. Dog hair. So we got to get our little shaker bits. Make sure my card opens the right way. These ones are a winter mix from Hero Arts. I love their sequins. They have some beautiful different mix. Buttons Galore has some great mixes. I know both of our stores carry a wide variety of sequins and buttons and little clay pieces that'll be great for shaker cards. So always check with us. We're always getting new ones in. I know we got in some new Halloween and Christmas ones from Trinity Stamps. That's also cute. So any kind of little shakers or sequins. And then we are going to put that piece right over the top, so that way we can make sure it is centered, and then just press. And there we go. Look at that. And there is our shaker. Isn't that a pretty combination? Okay, so now we're going to dig in our ephemera pack because we got to dress it up. And I love these laser cut ephemeras, and I love that they... for the most part, don't have those white edges on them. Okay, so we're looking for the poinsettia. This was my favorite in the whole set. I love that piece, and I'm like, I have to use that. There's the Merry Christmas. We're going to have this little greenery piece that goes up there, and then there are 2 items we're going to have to fuzzy cut. But don't worry, they're not hard fuzzy cutting because I'm not a big fuzzy cutter and I could do these. So let's just find where they are. So the first one we're going to do, we're going to get that little bird right there in that sheet. And then this poinsettia, no, not that poinsettia, this poinsettia right here. So we're just going to kind of quickly, I'm going to chunk it out first. Cut those out, and when I cut it out, I didn't leave any of that white edge on them. I got rid of all that. And I just love the characters in this. This Santa Claus is adorable. The puppy, the bunny rabbit, I just love all of the images in this set. It's stunning. Okay, so we're just going to wiggle the poinsettia. Just wiggle it We're not going to leave any white edges on it. And this is the poinsettia on the piece that had a little green on it. The other one is all red. Okay, so there's our poinsettia. And then we're going to cut that little bird out too. And when I cut the bird off, cut his legs off, we are going to tuck him behind that little greenery piece. So we are not going to worry. And usually little things like this, if it has a little legs or a little something like that, I usually chop them off anyways. I don't have the patience for that. And I'm like, I can either hide it or I can take my black pen and draw it back in. And sometimes I do that with die cuts. I love Spellbinder's die cuts, but sometimes those pieces are itty bitty. And to cut out a little black dot to glue an eyeball in, I just take a black pen and draw it in. Can tell when I'm in full concentration, it gets quiet. Okay, there we go. So there's our pieces. We're just going to kind of glue everything together and pop dot it. So the cute little bird, like I said, we're going to tuck him in behind, and I like to kind of place him first so I can figure out where my greenery is going, because I kind of wanted the greenery to curve down and around with that frame. So I like it there. And I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue on the back side of that piece. And then we're just going to kind of have him peekabooing, and then that kind of curving in and around. And then we'll put pop dots on it, and we'll pop the whole thing up. I find it was easier to glue it together first than it was to try to put pop dots on the two separate pieces. Okay, just like that. Perfect. Then we're going to pop the poinsettia. That's our next piece. And I love these big squares, and sometimes I like to cut them in half and just use them as a piece. Okay, so then we are going to, let's see, I want my little leaves here at the top. And again, we're just going to kind of curve it around that circle. So we don't want to cover a whole bunch. Just want to curve kind of on the bottom. There we go. And then we'll put the Merry Christmas kind of there. So I'll put liquid glue here, and then I'll put pop dots here. Man, the cicadas are loud tonight, guys. My windows and doors are closed. I don't know if you guys can hear them, but They are loud. Cocoa Bean got a hold of one yesterday and was having a heyday playing with it and trying to eat it. She got it taken away from her. There was the mom running around the backyard, chasing her, telling her to, what's in your mouth, and spit it out. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Not nice? Okay, then we have this one. I originally had the card designed like this, and I thought it's just too flat. It needs something else. So that's when I decided to add fuzzy cut of poinsettia and just add it to the top to add just a little bit more layer to it. It just needed a little bit more kind of 3D to it. And then the next thing you're going to add, which I seem to have lost mine, I'm looking for them, is the silver bling that was in the kit. You're just going to kind of put 3, I kind of carried them across the card. I put 3, 2, and 1 little silver gems on there. Let me see if I can find mine. Oh, got them. I like to kind of use my pokey tool to kind of pick them up, and then you can just kind of place them. So I'm going to do 3 different sizes down here, kind of, oops, sprinkle them. Oh, look at that, perfect timing. Halfway through, halfway on the card. Okay, and then I just added 1 up to the top. And there we go. There is card number 1. If you want to jazz it up, you could always add some red stickles to your poinsettia or to your letterings or something too. So there is a beautiful shaker. Okay, so we're going to keep the theme going, and we're going to do another shaker, but this time we're going to do a rectangle shaker. So for that one, you're going to look for this piece of paper here, looking for that one. And then we're going to dig through our paper. There's a sequin, random sequin, and find the one that has the red on it. And that one's really liked that one. This one, we're looking for that one. So this one, we're not going to cut it down. We're going to leave it the way it is. So we just need the teal one. We're just going to cut it off. And we're going to keep and use the frame. We want that one. And then the other one we're going to use is this guy right here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to cut it. Now the frame is going to go on your card base, and it's going to go all the way to the edge. So you just kind of want to make sure that it fits without too much, without hanging over. And mine's hanging over just a hair. So I'm just going to shave just a hair off of mine. Mine was hanging over just a little bit. Okay, so you want that to be the same side as your card base. We're good on that. And then this one is essentially going to be inside of your window. So what I did is I just cut off a little bit on each side. That way, if I happen to not get it directly in the center, I didn't have this peeking out the sides of it. And that you can go ahead and glue to your card. Your crease is going to be at the top. And you can go ahead and glue that right in the center. Okay, right in the center. And then this frame is going to go over the top of that. Okay, so we can set this aside. This piece of paper, I kept staring at it, and I'm like, gosh, I really like it, but to me, it should look like a frame. And to me, these edges were too clean, and I'm like, I need my edges for my frame. So this is totally optional if you want to do it. But what I'm doing is I'm going to take a ruler and a pencil, and I just drew a line here, and I felt like it needed to have those edges to make it more look like a picture frame. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a ruler and a pencil. And what I'm going to do is just line up this tip to this tip. I know it's not perfectly straight. It's kind of off-keter a little bit, but we're okay with that. And I'm just going to take a pencil and just very lightly, just draw that little like mitered edge in there. I felt like it needed that. I kept staring at it, and to me, it just looked incomplete. So I used a pencil. You could use a marker. You can use other things, but I was afraid if I went in with a black marker or a brown marker or something that it was going to be too predominant, like it would stand out. So that's why I decided just to use a pencil very lightly, because I felt like it blended in better. And see, doesn't that just kind of give it like a finishing touch? It just looked like it needed it. Yeah, thanks, Vicki. It just needed it, right? Okay, so now we're going to do our shaker window. So again, let's dig out our nesting dies. And these dies are not perfect. You're going to notice when I put it in, I have more on the side showing than I do at the top. And that's okay. We're going with it. Does not have to be perfect. Let me see. Oh, that one's too big. Okay, that one's too big. So I'm going to do... Yeah, I'm going to do that one the next size down, because I still want to be able to see that cute little scallop on there. And again, your guys' rectangles are probably different, but use what you have. Make whatever you have work. Mine is 2 5/8 by 2 3/8. So these are made for A2. This is from Spellbinders. This is the, these are old. They're called Card Creator Dies, A2 mats. There's a B and there's an A, and that's what this is from. But use whatever rectangles you guys have. And we're going to cut the center out of it. So I'm going to go to my die cutting machine since I laid it back on the floor. I'm going to die cut this, and I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. And this piece we're not using, so you can kind of discard that. And now we're going to repeat the same thing we did on the last card, but only this one's straight lines, so it's a bit quicker than trying to go around a circle. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our score tape, our suquang, whatever you call it, and we're just going to burnish it, and we're going to make a frame here. I hope you guys are getting to craft along with me. And don't forget to post your card creations, the cards you're crafting along with us, and then also all the extras that you guys are making in our private Facebook, the Crafty Hour Creations. We love seeing what you guys are making, and then it gives inspiration to others also to use all their extra bits and pieces from these kits. And this one had some great ephemeras and stuff. Then we're going to take our acetate, and you just want to make sure it fills that hole. Fills that hole. Okay, so there we go. And then we're going to put our foam tape on there also. Oh, yay. Kay is crafting along. Thank you. I hope I'm going at a good pace. That way you can kind of keep up. So we're going to build our box of foam tape. And the foam tape I'm using, doesn't matter if you use black or white. I was out of white, so I grabbed my black. This is what we call the 54 foot, the 54. So it is higher, and it is perfect for shaker cards. Got a little scrap. I'll just put it over there. Oh, I know, right? Never leave a tag hole empty. You got to put some string in it. You got to put some twine in it. Okay, so there is our shaker part. Now we need some little shakers. Let me make sure my thing is at the top. Yep, we're good. These are from Spellbinders, and I was just digging in my stash, guys, so dig whatever you guys have out. I collect all kinds of good shaker embellishments when we see them, because you never know when you'll have the perfect project for them. These are little silver discs. I call them sequins with no holes. These are from Spellbinders, and they come in a large variety of colors. They have copper and rose gold and all kinds of different mixes. I think I might need, that's plenty. Okay, so these are just the silver discs that have no holes, holeless sequins. What I like about them too is you can just glue them down as embellishments, and they're really cute to use that way also. Okay, and then we're going to put this down, and it is going to go all the way from side to side and cover up that white. And there we go. Isn't that pretty? Oh, perfect. Kay has the same thing. Okay, so there's our shakers. Then we're going to dig in our embellishments, and I just loved these little... I love that Santa, so I really wanted to use him. So we're going to dig out the tree. And then there's two different Santas. We're going to grab the Santa with the gifts. And then we're also going to grab the presents. And then our sentiment is going to come from some cut-aparts. In our cut-aparts, there are these guys here. And we're just going to cut out Merry Christmas there. Or if you want to use a different sentiment, feel free to use a different sentiment. I love this trimmer that I can see where I'm cutting and I can line things up, and it just makes it so easy. Okay, so there's our Merry Christmas. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and snip it down. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Christmas tree and put him kind of in the corner, and all of these pieces are going to get foam. We're gonna pop all these pieces. Okay, then we've got Santa, and Santa is going to overlap the tree. So we don't really need to put a whole lot of foam there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of foam right there to make sure Santa is popped, and then I'm going to put the other on the package. That way I make sure it's over far enough. And then I'm just going to put a little liquid glue on Santa. That way he sticks to the tree. Way he's not flapping around. Perfect, just like that. Then we've got our presents. And again, they're going to kind of be glued on, but I'm going to put a little pop dot right there. That way I can pop the corner of the presents, but then the rest of it is going to get liquid. Just kind of stack it in. And then the Merry Christmas is also going to get popped, and that is where these foam strips come in very handy. We'll just kind of layer that in just like that. Okay? Very cute. That way we can still see our shaker window and kind of our bits in there. And then the last thing we're going to do, I love these blings. I call them like, I don't know what they're even called, but I call them like warty gems. They have lots of little bumps to them, and they are just so cute. So this Christmas set we added to this kit, and it has the red and the two-tone green, like a green and a turquoise. And then there is a gold and silver set too that I think most of you guys grabbed. We do have those in store also, and we do have more of the gems individually if you just want to grab some more of these guys. And what is nice about the silver ones too is you could always take your alcohol inks and color them and kind of make them your own. Okay, so we're going to add some ornaments to our tree with those little blings. And how fun is that one? How cute is that? Ooh, look, that one went faster. All right. So another one that we had an idea, and I didn't think I'd have time for it. But in the paper pack, whoops, there's my ephemeris. In the paper pack, there was these two arches that were in there. And I thought these would be really cute too to make a shaker with. I didn't think I'd have enough time to do them. But this set from Spellbinders is an arch die set that would be perfect to cut the centers out of those and then turn these guys into shaker cards also from the pieces that are in your set. So that is my cards today for Crafty Hour number 70. I hope you guys like shakers. I hope it kind of inspired you guys to get your nesting dies out and kind of create. I just loved how these two pieces were kind of already made, and they just looked like they were perfect in framing for some shaker cards. So thank you everybody for joining me tonight. If you need to grab some more papers or embellishments, please contact Scrapbook-N-Memories or Clipper Street to grab some more. And then tomorrow at 11 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Pacific, we will go live with our Crafty Hour 72. And we are super excited about this kit that we put together also. It is going to be a great fall theme. You guys already kind of saw a little sneaky peeky that we created of the event. Check that you're going so you'll get your notifications tomorrow. And there are lots of great bonus add-ons that will match and coordinate with it too, including some stamps, some dies, and additional papers and card kits that match and coordinate. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful night, and we will see you tomorrow for Crafty Hour 72 Reveal. Bye-bye.